Exactly.
And that's what we want to end on next Sunday is like, I'm gonna have a brother come on and break it down very baby food level how
Exactly.
how close we are and how powerful this is.
Right.
And I would say 6 or 7 of the 9 people that need the 17 of them in city council, 5 or 6 of them are men that look like us, right? So you can see very plainly, people, if we don't get this over the finish line, you need to adjust.
It's
You know what I'm
This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents the People Before Politics show. The news
was 27 years old, surrounded by a sea of black men, nearly 2 million strong, who had come from every corner of the country. I remember brothers greeting each other like long-lost family, hugging, smiling, sharing prayers and stories. For the first time in my life, I truly saw what freedom could look like. Not the kind the government grants, but the kind that comes from our unity, love, and accountability among our own. We were not just a crowd, but a brotherhood, a community united in purpose and spirit. It was a day of unity, not just for men, but for our entire community. The media said 1 million, but those of us who stood shoulder to shoulder know better. It was closer to 2 million strong individuals. The air that day was thick with purpose, not protest. We didn't come to beg for handouts or chant for change. We came to stand before God, before our families, and before one another to take responsibility for our lives, our homes, and our communities. That was the true meaning of the Million Man March, atonement and reconciliation. A day that changed the image of the black man. That day, the world witnessed something powerful and unprecedented. Millions of disciplined, peaceful, prayerful black men united under one mission. There were no fights, no arrests, no chaos, just dignity. It shattered every stereotype that America had built around us. For one day, the world saw our strength, not our struggle. They saw organization rather than outrage, leadership rather than lawlessness, and love rather than fear. The numbers may still be debated, but the impact cannot be. It wasn't just a march, it was a spiritual movement. Every man who was there left differently. We walked in with burdens and walked out with a renewed sense of purpose, a rekindled spirit of brotherhood, and a commitment to personal and collective growth. The Million Man March was not just a moment in history, but a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope for our future. What the march really meant, the Million Man March wasn't about politics, it was about personal transformation. Minister Louis Farrakhan and Dr. Benjamin Chavis called for a day of spiritual renewal, to reconcile with our families, to restore our faith, and to rebuild our communities. Every man was challenged to make a personal pledge, to be a better father, a better husband, a better brother, and a better man. It was a call to repair what had been broken, our self-image, our leadership, and our unity. That message is timeless, and today it's needed more than ever. Atonement and reconciliation. Then and now, 30 years later, our communities still cry out for that same healing. Too many of our young men are lost to violence. Too many homes are fatherless, and too many leaders chase fame instead of faith. The spirit of accountability that filled the mall that day has been replaced by finger pointing and division, but we cannot lose hope. We must remember the unity and purpose of that day and continue to work towards healing and reconciliation. Atonement means more than saying we're sorry. It means changing direction. Reconciliation means healing what's been divided. We have to atone for how we've allowed distractions, politics, and systems to pull us apart. And we must reconcile the gap between who we say we are and how we actually live. The family is still the foundation. The strength of any nation begins at home. The Million Man March was a call to rebuild the black family, to remind men to be present, protective, and principled, guarding the women and children who carry our future, 30 years later, that message is more urgent than ever. No government program can fix what only love, faith, and discipline can restore. But we must ask ourselves what happened. We left that mall with a mission, but today nearly 80% of Black children are born outside of marriage. That wasn't the promise we made. Somewhere between that moment of unity and this generation, the meaning of our oath was lost. It's time to restore it, to remind our sons and daughters what we stood for, and to rebuild the family as the foundation of our freedom. Why we must remember commemorating the Million Man. March isn't about nostalgia, it's about revival. The same unity that filled Washington, D.C., that day can fill our communities again if we choose to stand on the same principles: faith, discipline, and love for our people. That day proved what's possible when we come together with purpose. The question now is, do we still believe in that purpose? A call to action, this anniversary should not pass quietly. Every Black man should pause and reflect. Have I kept the promise I made that day? Have I mentored a young brother, reconciled with my family, or poured back into my community? The Million Man March was never just about one day. It was about the life we built afterward. We don't need another march on Washington. We need a march through our neighborhoods, our schools, our homes, and our heart. Closing thought. I was 27 years old when I stood in that crowd and felt the power of brotherhood, love, and unity. I saw a glimpse of the freedom our ancestors dreamed of, and I still believe in it. We can reclaim that spirit if we remember the vow we made to be men of God, men of vision, men of accountability. As we honor this 30th anniversary, let's recommit to that promise. Because the Million Man March wasn't the end of a journey, it was the beginning of one. And that journey must continue until our families are whole, our communities are strong, and our people are truly free. The message of the Million Man March is not a relic of the past, but a guiding light for our present and future. It's up to us to carry that torch forward.
Yo, that was powerful, my
So
brother.
I'm get ready to add the brother in. Hold on a second.
So this brother right here that's about to come on, Damon, I first met him in the early 2000s. He was an independent rapper, a dope rapper out of Philly. Even back then, he wasn't rapping about blunts and hoes and all those things. Like, he was rapping with a purpose back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not surprised that he's involved in this movement and the things that he's doing now, because you could see that sense of purpose even when he was a young, upcoming independent MC. He went by the name Grand Agent at the time. I'm not sure. His thing says Philly Truth, so I'll let him introduce himself. But Joe, I've known this brother for a while, and he, like I said, you always knew that sense of purpose that he had in it, and that's what made him stand out, and that's why I'm proud to call him my brother.
That's right. That's right.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Hey Jay, what up?
What's up, man? What's up? I'm
So
good.
yeah, so Grand Agent still works. You know what I mean? I still do that. It's part time now, but so people around town know me as my Z. So I use my legal name. Philly Truce is coming up on 5 years old. I didn't want to cloud the vision, or people think I'm trying to do something to further my rap career, or whatever. But
Right.
So Philly Truce is the organization I co-founded with a good brother of mine that I went to high school with, go by the name of Steve Pickens, 22-year veteran of the fire department here in Philly. And basically what happened, Grand Agent the rapper. Yeah. And so I was living out of town. I was living up in North Jersey. Came home and ran into my bro. And this was 2020. Homicides were skyrocketing, and we had a flashback, another 30-year flashback. When we was in 10th grade, it was 1990. It was also a big thing. 500 homicides, crack era, yada yada. So we watching this movie play out again. And we just determined now, we middle-aged men, we ain't 15, 16. It got to be something we can do to get involved. And that started the trajectory of what, kind of led me here today. Yep.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, AJ, for making it happen.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yo, there's brothers like this, even when we were working together in hip hop, that I'm always proud to represent. And this reason we created Black Westchester is for brothers that's doing this work behind the scenes that don't get, you don't see they don't see them in the major press. They don't get a lot of publicity, but they're not doing it for that. They're doing it for their community. And,
Absolutely.
That's kind of the reason we put this platform together. So, word up.
Yeah, so appreciate that. So I just watched the video. We have been doing as much of a blitz down here press wise as we can, and we have been getting some love. There's a few outlets down here that do show us love. Minister Rodney Muhammad of Mosque Number 12 down here, who was, of course, one of the original organizers. And I just been learning a lot of history. I unfortunately did not make it to the original march. I was 20. I was not focused. I'll just say that. You know what I'm saying? And
no, it's understandable.
Yeah. So it means that much more to me. And how we came to this point, Philly Truce, our mission is our stated mission is driving the impact of sustainable Black manhood. And though we started violence interruption and that, it has evolved to where our primary program is called Peace Patrol. We have brothers that go out Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 10:30. And we basically doing community-led patrols on blocks that's been highly impacted by gun violence, right? So that's our day-to-day bread and butter program. And so, also what's going on here in Philly, I mean, it's going on around the nation, but Philly being what Philly is, this is a big countdown to the 250th birthday of the United States, right? And us being the Liberty Bell City and the Declaration. So we get a lot of that, right? So we started in July, this thing, a year-long campaign, a year of brotherly action, and really just want to make sure our community gets centered in that narrative, right? We the largest ethnic group in the city, the mayor, the police commissioner, about 2/3 of the city council all come from our community. So even with all that, we know how the American narrative go, and it could be very easily that you see a semi-sesquicentennial, whatever it's called, that don't look like the city. And so getting on that wave and then realizing, oh man, it's the 30th year anniversary of the Million Man March. We just had to kind of put a flag in the ground around that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to do it, bro. Like it was, like I said in the video, to be there as someone 27 and see what I saw, man, like it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing of the love that brothers gave you. And I remember one brother, and I wish I would have thought of this. He had a book. He was just going asking brothers to sign the book.
Wow.
Right. And when I saw him, I signed it. I said, man, I should have did that. Right. Because brothers was just signing the book.
Yeah.
Brothers was just putting their signatures in the book, man. And it was just so crazy. I said, man, I said, he just documented this day.
He got a record.
He had a record of it, of brothers' signatures. And it was just so much love, man. And they left the mall clean.
Yeah.
The same way you think 2 million people there, and the mall was spit clean, bro. Wow. And it was just like Black men shut the country down.
Yeah.
Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody go to work. Yeah. Schools had to close, right? Yeah. Look at that unity. Yeah. We need that.
How do we get back there, right?
Exactly.
Listen, man. working on this thing, and I do got to shout out some of the partners down here: Urban League of
Mhm.
Greater Philadelphia, Black Voters Matter, of course, the Nation of Islam. Minister Roddy Muhammad gave his blessing. We went there first, and just on and on and on. Many groups have been, many real grassroots guys down here been adding they thing to it. But like was stated, that's the one thing I hear above all else, right? The vibe was beautiful. Never seen it before. Never felt it since. What was the follow up?
Right.
And I've heard many takes on that, right?
Right.
I've heard it was so powerful that it didn't need no follow up. I've heard we dropped the
No,
ball.
gangster rap came out, right? So if you look at the time of when it was, there was a follow up because what the minister did, and I was in the Nation at the time.
Okay.
What the minister did was put it on the local communities and the local organizations,
Gotcha.
and adoptions roles, right?
Yeah.
Mentoring programs roles,
Right.
a lot of things in the community started rising. Gangster rap, gangster rap started getting put, and they started getting the mindset, getting the mindset away, because remember, even at that time, rap music wasn't what it is today. It wasn't what it was in the 2020s, right? You had those groups that talked about unity, talked about empowerment. At that time, all that was happening.
Right.
Public Enemy Fight the Power was less than a year old at the time.
Right. And then you got the rappers with the shiny suits and talking about popping bottles and all that craziness came right after that.
Right.
It grew right after that. So our culture started shifting, and the people from the march got older,
right,
got a little more disconnected,
right.
And then we trying to get it back, but they had the Million Families March, they had all those things, but
Million Youth March,
right. It really just didn't have the impact of the original march.
Right, you're right. So they had the women, then the families, then the youth. And actually, Minister Rodney gave us a book where all 5 marches are condensed. The national agenda, right? So that's something that we
it was a national. You're right. It was a national agenda, right? So it came out with a. We ain't got no other black agenda,
right?
Than what came out of the Million Man March,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And these intelligent Negroes, as I say, they don't even want to address that agenda that came out,
right?
And we should be holding our elected officials to that agenda.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because this is 2 things that's intended to come out of this celebration that we have, right? So how our thing is set up is it's a week from the day. It's Sunday, October 26th. We call in the community the 3 basic parts of Philly are north, south, and west, and there's many other things you could get in, but so we have a rallying point in each neighborhood that's about a mile from downtown, a place called Love Park. It's across from City Hall, right? So we all rally in our respective neighborhoods, 8 a.m., 9:15. We take this mile walk and we meet up at Love Park, and we put on stage things that are designed to address all of what came out of that and all where people felt the ball was dropped, right? And so, housing, cooperative economics. So we got a brother who has been innovating in that space for each topic. They're going to say they pitch. This is what I do. This is what I know to be effective. Here's what we could do together. Here's what you can do if you need this. And then we have a centralized hub we develop, and where you could go and take that follow-up action, that next step.
Good.
And that's part of the the onus that Philly Truce is taking on to make sure that happens, and to make sure that those referrals or that information get passed along, because a lot of stuff, you're absolutely right, is happening. And what we struggle with here in Philadelphia is just coordination, right? And we struggle a little bit with a little bit of overly competitive for grant dollars and nonprofit
Right.
opportunities. And so the hope and the spirit is that we can orchestrate and organize a little bit better. And to the elected official point, this is something. And this is the brother I invited on. He might have had a hard time getting on because I had to go through my YouTube and all this. But there's a group here, Philadelphia Reparations Coalition for American Freedmen, right?
Mhm.
And these brothers have been lobbying city council endlessly, tirelessly for quite a few years. Finally, this year, a council member, Curtis Jones Jr., put forth a resolution to hold hearings about establishing an Office of Freedmen Affairs here in the city of Philadelphia.
Wow.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Right. So I wanted my man here because he's the expert, but that much I know to be accurate. So when we thinking in terms of what can we say, what can we invite our community in to get excited about and involved in that might not have happened 30 years ago. This
Right.
is kind of the crown jewel
Absolutely.
development that we're working on. So it's a lot that we feel can happen. A lot of people are excited about it, and we just we're a week away, man. We just gotta keep
No,
our
it's
foot on the
beautiful, brother.
pedal and get there. You know what I mean?
Nah, man, I
No.
applaud you and everything you're doing, man. Like I said, we've known each other since the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, and again, not to change the subject back onto what we was talking about. Yo, at that time, I had given up on the direction hip hop was going in. And
Wow.
you was one of the young brothers that gave me hope for the future. That this,
Wow.
yo, real talk. Like you gave me hope. You was one of them younger dudes that gave me hope that that movement is not over. Like that spirit is still there. Like,
Yeah.
and I gotta applaud you for that. So,
Oh, thank you, bro. It's been listen, man, it's been a pleasure. And even when Black Westchester started, I mean, I see you go through many evolutions down south, spiritual minded, back up north.
Right.
So you always been a guy in light for me too. Just like, damn, he gets it popping. You know what I mean? Like go anywhere and start a movement. You know what I'm saying? Like so.
Right.
You know what I mean? So enough respect to you, AJ, for real.
no doubt, no
Yeah,
doubt.
it's a beautiful thing to see this still going, and now the new book and the JVC coming back is
Yeah, that's amazing.
you're a guy in light, no doubt. So I mean, listen, we looking at 24 years ago now.
Yeah.
We started working together. So I mean, it's a beautiful thing on both sides, bro. Absolutely.
No doubt. So anybody who's watching this that either wants to come down, good or just find out more about what you're doing or get involved or help in any way, website,
Absolutely.
contact, anything like that.
Absolutely. All they gotta do is go to phillytruce.com. Philly PHILLY truce TRUCE.com. You can register if you want to come down. We got another whole team doing events, comedy show, parties, just to set the vibe and try to catch that crowd if they ain't really plugged in. So it's a lot of activity going on starting on the 22nd of this week. So go to phillytruce.com. You can get all the information you need. If you can't make it, you want to send a donation, we gladly accept that. And on the Grand Agent tip, I put up a auction of some vinyl, right? Some vinyl.
Okay.
Dug in my personal stash, so it's an
Right.
auction of some exclusive Grand Agent vinyl up there, just to help offset some of these costs, so you can support like that. If you just me as a rapper, that's there for you too. But it's all at phillytruce.com. Yep.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
No doubt. Anything I didn't ask you that you want the people to know or anything like that?
Everything is covered, man. It's all at phillytruce.com. And just listen, we would love to have some New Yorkers mob down and stretch this thing out, and call your people in Jersey if you got some people that's closer, or in Delaware. I mean, it's been a lot of celebrations this year. I wanted to go hit some of them. I mean, I heard Baltimore been doing it daily. I mean, annually since. So they had a big one. Landover, Maryland was yesterday. DC was maybe 2 or 3 days ago. So people want this. People know that we need this. People recognize it was a miraculous moment, and the spirit of the Million Man March is very much alive. But as was stated, the counter forces are stronger, right? We got less. Our kids got access to things and information and ideologies that make it very hard for us to keep our hand on them. But we listen. Our thing now is if we can get a couple thousand young brothers and put the germ in them, we can trust that it'll reproduce. So that's all that's our goal for this upcoming week. So I thank you for the platform, brothers.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No doubt. If you want to come back afterwards and talk about the success of it and what the next steps are, or anything, open door for you, bro.
Definitely. I will hit you up.
If you could get the brother to come back, because I really, I've been writing about the whole reparations thing, and I like what the brother's doing with the legislation, and I think, to talk about it and how other communities can replicate that within their community, because it doesn't make it like, I tell people it's going to be hard. We had a black president, Democrats at that time. The Democrats controlled the House and the Senate the first 2 years, and they didn't do anything, even though HR 40 under John Conyers was introduced every year under Obama. Nothing happened. So let's try to look at it from a city level,
a local
level, because all politics is local, right? With those black elected officials that we put in office directly, right? We could get something, right? Exactly. We could get something popping like that in all the little black communities and black cities that we put these elected officials in to have a piece of legislation like that. And if they don't want to do it, then you don't vote for them.
You get some people in office that do want to.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to end on next Sunday is like, I'm gonna have a brother come on and break it down very baby food level.
Exactly.
How close we are and how powerful this is. And I would say 6 or 7 of the 9 people that need the 17 of them in city council, 5 or 6 of them are men that look like us, right? So now, you can see very plainly, people, if we don't get this over the finish line, you need to adjust. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
Right, so that's how we try and put it to the people, and just like plain baby food. Like, look, this is a milestone moment right here. So. Yeah, but I'll send it. I'll send the draft, what they passed down here. I'll send it to AJ.
Because AJ, I ain't have no problem pushing up on elected officials. Like, can y'all pass this or not? So let me know where you stand. Because look what happened in Maryland, man. The dude vetoed the reparations bill. It was asked for a study and apology. So you vetoed the bill as the first. Was he the first black governor? Was he the first black governor in Maryland?
I feel like he might be.
I thought he was, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
okay, so like we got the first black governor in Maryland. They give him a bill. It passed. Got on his desk. We want to study it, see how slavery affected black Americans in Maryland, and we want official apology from the state. And this Negro vetoed it, talking about we're beyond that. No, we're not.
Wow. And the study's been done. I mean, you just go collect the info. The studies get done every shit. I'm doing the studies with my little work I'm doing. The facts are there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But see, that's why we really gotta AJ would tell you, I say all the time, some of these Negroes you can't put in office. Because we're getting nothing from it.
Yeah,
and if you can't sign and not worry about you running for president, and you can't sign legislation to study reparations, just to study it. We ain't talking about cutting no checks, and to give an apology to black Americans that ancestors in Maryland was under slavery, bro, I ain't got nothing for you.
And let me the brother's name is Obona, and I'm gonna connect y'all so he could come back, or I'll come back with him. But
yeah, absolutely, man.
They're the way they set this one up is so when Reconstruction started, it was the Freedmen's Bureau, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything was from the 39th Congress, it was all spelled out, right? It was running. Reconstruction got hijacked, right? KKK came, it scared everybody. So the way that they put it forth is like, look, that's on the books federally. It never went off the books. It just ain't being enforced, right? So it ain't even like you're inventing something new. You just recalling what was interrupted, right? So that's the premise which they put forth on. We just resuming Reconstruction. This is
and that's beautiful,
right? Federally mandated, and these brothers they've been working hard, and I'm gonna send it to AJ when I get off.
Absolutely, man. And I be jabbing cats. And who did that? Republicans. And who fought against it? Democrats.
I don't know where that crisscross happened. I tried to go and look back at some point, and I couldn't figure it out. But hey, listen, man, listen.
see how they trade. See how they play the game on us, bro. It's always when we think we got it, they just turn it around on us.
It's deep. It's very deep.
And one of the things I want to say in closing, and I always say this, and this is to our audience, to anybody who's watching, anybody who's going to watch this on YouTube later. Yo, nobody's going to give us anything that we're not going to fight for. Anything that we've ever got, we had to fight for. At no point in the time of Africans in America did they do something because it was the right thing to do for us. Right. It was until we stood up and fought for our own and demanded change, and some of us died, all the things that happened, but they continued to fight. And we rest on the laurels of what people in the civil rights era did. Yo, dude, like when we're not furthering the movement of what they did. Same thing with the Million Man March. 30 years later, after the civil rights, we're not furthering these things. You know, we have great moments. Right. And we need to turn these moments into a movement. There's a difference between a movement and a moment. Right. And we can't let these things be moments. We need to take advantage of them. So, I mean, I preach this all the time. I write this. This is what we got to do. So I'm encouraged by what you're doing. And for everybody who can come down to Philly, if you can, go down and support that. You know what I'm saying? And the whole nine. You know, and everybody's not a frontline person. But you know what? I always say, for those that's not frontline people, you can support with your dollars, with your pocket.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Support the ones that are on the front line. You can always do that as well. So you don't have to be out there, because if that's not how you built. Right. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, maybe you got a government job and you scared to buck the government. I get that. Right. I get that. You know, benefits is hard. You got families to feed and all that. I get that. I do get that. Yeah.
But this one is so big. I mean, this is family reunion level. You know what I mean? You ain't even gotta. You ain't gotta think that hard about this one, man. We got a magical moment that we able to call back. So if you know what I mean, for guys like if you're in my shoes, you wanted to go, you didn't. Come on, this is your moment. Bring it back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, brother.
What you're doing, man. I'm watching from afar.
That's what's up.
Salute, bro.
Salute, brothers.
Yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace. Yeah.
This is the People Before Politics show. Broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.